Hello YouTube, this is Ben Gessel. How's it going? I'm going to try to make this video not too lengthy. I have to go out teaching here in just a second. Get my bread and butter, get my income for the day. So, I want to go through just a few, this is kind of speaks for itself, this list here. I'm comparing basically four different folks that are in the public eye, that are three of which are doctors, one of which is I guess you could say nutritionist, athlete type guy. And talk about each of these guys here in a second. So this is I'm sure that this is probably not going to be super accurate, but it would be interesting if any of these gentlemen were to comment on this and correct me, which I welcome. This is in my view, estimation, a 1 week shopping trip for each of these guys, called the doctors, except for Mark Sisson. Okay, Dr. Berg advocating the keto diet, more or less. I had them getting 6 avocados, 1 pack of bacon, which is more, I think, of the high quality type, because Dr. Berry is more about the get whatever you want. Going on, 1 dozen pasture-raised eggs. Maybe he might settle for organic if he couldn't find anything like that. But so far, we're looking at the protein, fat stuff, especially fat with bacon, avocado. Also some veggies, 1 head lettuce, a few onions, 2 bags of frozen broccoli, 1 bag frozen berries, maybe even 2, 1 bag frozen spinach, 1 bag spinach leaves, or some other kind of lettuce. It could be like a red lettuce or a romaine lettuce or something different than the first one, maybe up there. And so, in there, as you could probably guess, you might include asparagus and green beans and stuff like that. Peas, 1 bag frozen Swiss chard or fresh Swiss chard, 1 can of olives, maybe even 2, 1 bag of frozen cauliflower, 1 grass-fed beef steak, 1 bag of walnuts, which you might soak. I'm not sure. Probably would. Depends on. I have to. You guys probably know this better than I do. And 1 celery bunch, 1 bag of pumpkin seeds, a bit of grass-fed cheese and butter. It's a bit more unique to Dr. Berg. Somewhat, but Dr. Glidden also similar. I respect more, especially in the butter range. 1 container bone broth, turkey bone broth, and 1 leek for the bone broth. Okay, going on to Dr. Fuhrman. 4 avocados, 2 mangoes, 2 bags frozen berries, 1 box cremini mushrooms, 1 bag sunflower seeds, 1 bag pumpkin seeds, 1 bag black beans, 1 bag adzuki beans. These aren't like that big of bags, but some. 1 bag walnuts, 1 bag almonds, a few oranges, a few apples, 1 head lettuce, 3 cucumbers, 2 zucchinis, 1 squash, 2 sweet potatoes, 2 red onions, 4 lemons, 4 limes, 1 cantaloupe, 2 yellow onions, a few garlic cloves, 1 jar olives, 1 bunch collard greens, 1 bunch Swiss chard, 1 bunch kale, a few carrots, 1 bunch celery, 1 bag of grapes, 1 salmon fillet, 1 bag of flax or chia seeds, 1 red bell pepper, 1 eggplant. Keep in mind this is just for a week. It seems like a whole heck of a lot, but well, yeah, this is all basically plant foods. Yeah, heavy on the veggies, just like the last one. So next one, Dr. Hyman. 6 avocados, 1 head lettuce, 1 salmon fillet, 1 dozen organic or pasture-raised eggs, 1 bag frozen spinach, 1 bag fresh spinach, 2 bags frozen broccoli, fresh herbs like cilantro, basil. The fresh herb thing can also apply to these are the last 2 guys, Dr. Berg, Dr. Fuhrman as well. 1 celery bunch, a few carrots, 1 bag black, let's say we call it purple grapes, 1 box blueberries, 1 dark chocolate bar, 1 container pomegranate seeds, 1 bag of frozen cauliflower, 1 bag arugula, which can also apply to these other guys as well. Like same thing with watercress, same thing with mustard greens. Mustard greens are hard. I can't imagine many people. Maybe Dr. Fuhrman knows some way of making mustard greens. But 1 grass-fed beef steak, a few apples, and 1 bag of sunflower seeds. Okay, I'm almost done here. Mark Sisson. You notice I didn't have a chance to fill mine out. But if you guys have been following my videos, you'll know what I eat. Mark Sisson. Sorry, Mark Sisson. This is paleo diet. Right? Keep in mind, paleo diet. 3 grass-fed beef steaks, 1 pack of bacon, Probably doesn't have to be super high quality. 1 dozen eggs, 2 chicken packages or so, maybe even 3. Include maybe a turkey in there as well. 1 head lettuce, 1 celery bunch, 4 cucumbers, 1 bag carrots, 1 head cauliflower, 2 heads broccoli. These are more fresh. You might do it with the fresh route because he likes to have these calls it big ASS salads. 2 heads, 1 bison steak, 1 red bell pepper, maybe 2. Probably 2, actually. 2 red onions, 2 avocados, 1 big walnuts, and 2 salmon fillets, plus some other stuff I'm probably not thinking of, like green onions, but more in the vegetable arena. Me, you can pretty much guess. I'm going to have some vegetables, probably not quite as much as these guys eat, but I'm going to have quite a bit more than most Americans. Heavy on the frozen broccoli and spinach, lightly sauteed, or these very, very lightly, basically just de-thawed on the stove with a little bit of water. And, other vegetables like onions and green beans and, all kinds of stuff. Cauliflower, Swiss chard, whatever. Carrots and lettuce too and all that stuff. So then I also have more fruit, I think, than these guys. I definitely do. But my favorite fruits are definitely oranges, berries in the summer, and then, kind of it just depends. But grapes are somewhat up there, as well as it just depends on the quality of stuff. But just after oranges and berries, it just maybe grapes. Grapes are kind of a third tier. It kind of depends. And then I eat a little bit of beans. It's kind of an off and on thing. A little bit of nuts. Again, it's a little bit off and on, but not as much as beans, and not as much avocado as these guys. But it's kind of very off and on. And olives, I used to eat them more. I'll probably try to eat them more in the future. They have a lot of vitamin E, like seeds and stuff. And a fair bit of, well, at least as much as Mark Sisson eats of all the animal foods. Probably minus, it's pretty comparable, but maybe a little bit less red meat now. A bit more emphasis on fish and turkey. Turkey is my go-to guys there, and also I just don't eat as much eggs as some of these guys as well. But it's high quality. And I'll try to get occasionally the things. I'm big on spices and herbs and things. So what I wanted to mention with all this stuff here, this is kind of, I would love it if these gentlemen could correct me, could be more specific about what their grocery lists are in a week, because we hear all this stuff from them, and it's all fine and good, and we see even videos, and I'm sure they'd say, well, hey, it'd be nice to see it laid out like this, folks. I mean, if I've been following you guys for quite a while, and I have trouble sometimes knowing exactly what it is you buy, maybe I need to watch more of your stuff, or maybe you could actually do more of these videos. Dr. Berg actually, I think all 3 of these gentlemen are very, very clear about what they themselves eat and what they themselves advocate, as well as Mark Sisson. So maybe I'm in mistaken here, and so that's where I could be corrected. But I wanted to also mention, even if I'm kind of off on a few details here, I think I'm in the right ballpark in general. Maybe I'm more accurate with Dr. Fuhrman and Mark Sisson, and maybe I could get a little bit more specific about things with Dr. Hyman and Dr. Berg. Both of the latter 2 of which I'm, following a bit more closely. These other guys are great, but anyway, they're just fine. But what do you notice all these gentlemen have in common with what their diets are like? They all eat a lot of vegetables, right? They all eat a lot of vegetables, and both cooked and raw. Mark Sisson might have a bit more of the raw type, maybe. And Dr. Fuhrman does a lot of just everything. It's insane the variety of produce that Dr. Fuhrman consumes. But he doesn't have any animal foods, which is evident of all these gentlemen. Dr. Hyman really doesn't have a whole lot in that respect as well. His stuff he buys, it's like 1. It's for the whole week, and he probably, he cuts it in half and saves some of it for later. So Dr. Hyman definitely has less animal, meat. He has less meat than Dr. Berg or Mark Sisson. He's approaching Dr. Fuhrman, but Dr. Fuhrman is almost a vegan, almost, with nutritarianism being the way it is. But again, they all have a ton of vegetables. Eat a ton of vegetables. The fruit that these gentlemen eat is, I mean, with Dr. Berg, it's non-existent almost because he does keto diet more or less. Well, he does berries. That's it. Dr. Fuhrman has a fair bit of fruit, quite a bit, but maybe so. My fruit intake is more like Dr. Fuhrman's, but I don't eat nearly as much vegetables as he does. Try to. And then Mark Hyman really watches his fruit as well. He balances it with dark chocolate. He treats it like a dessert. Mark Sisson, I really don't know as much about what fruit he eats as well. I mean, maybe he has a bit more fruit than I'm aware of. Perhaps Mark Sisson I'm less familiar with, even though I do like how much meat he eats, because I think does a body good to a certain extent. But anyway, but yeah, they don't eat a whole heck of a lot of fruit on average, except for Dr. Fuhrman. And then with the beans, Dr. Fuhrman hits the beans pretty hard. These other guys not quite as much. With nuts, I think all these guys eat a fair bit of nuts. Actually, maybe Dr. Fuhrman even a bit more than some of these other guys. Well, it just depends. And then middle two maybe have more nuts. I don't know. And then often soaked. They might all anyway. But he also Dr. Fuhrman hits the seeds really hard, and then he also includes a lot of mushrooms pretty regularly. And let's see. All these gentlemen probably have some Allium family onions, especially Dr. Fuhrman. And yeah. So what don't you notice about all their diets? Well, you don't see anything processed. You know, and grains. I don't think any of these guys have much in the way of grains at all, really. Maybe Mark Sisson might have a bit of oatmeal that I'm not thinking of here or something, but all these guys, no, no grains really. And imagine Dr. Fuhrman might have some rice or something like that. He has, I mean, some of the stuff like sweet potatoes get a little starchy, but he makes a point of not doing that stuff. And you don't see much potatoes on here either, even though potatoes are pretty healthy as well. It's just, adds to your carbs and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, and then of course with fruit juice, the person likely to buy fruit juice, which would probably be more like pomegranate juice or something like that, would be Dr. Fuhrman, but more used as a salad dressing. So these guys don't do fruit juice either, and certainly no soda. So it seems very strict, but then you could say which one of these diets are the best. But like Dr. Hyman has mentioned, they're all pretty much really close to each other. And when all you're doing is Dr. Berg is including more fat and more stuff that you can find in a really high quality eggs and meat and stuff and dairy even. And he's not doing the fruit. Dr. Fuhrman's substituting basically the fruit for the animal foods, more like that stuff kind of thing. And then including a few more seeds and beans and stuff. And then Dr. Hyman is kind of doing a bit more of the avocado salad heavy thing with a little bit of meat on top as a condiment and high quality stuff like that. And then just add in a few dark fruits, maybe berries or blueberries or whatever. Mark Sisson's just like meat and salads and a few other things, maybe an apple or something like that. And Mark Sisson's paleo diet. So I imagine, in the paleo diet, you can have meat, vegetables, I think fruit, maybe not a whole heck of a lot of it, but fruit is okay. And then, yeah, nuts and seeds are great. Maybe I'm forgetting big walnuts. Maybe I include some sunflowers or seeds or something like that, or chia seeds or something like that. But no beans, no grains, and I think the fruits needs to be low on sugar. So I thought I'd at least mention this to you guys. Again, I know I'm probably not super accurate in some of these respects, but I hold all these men in high regard, and I think that the debate is just fine. I just think that Dr. Hyman's right in that in regard to, well, hey, let's just focus on the things that we all have in common, because these are the things that I think everybody needs to be including in their diets and keeping in mind as to what a healthy diet really means, which is You need to eat a lot of vegetables, and you need to eat other kinds of plant foods, and you need to keep the animal foods high quality and in lower amounts. And that's very hard to do for many. I understand. I struggle with it too sometimes. But when you have a bunch of cheeseburgers, especially if you're a big guy and you need a lot of calories, it will have an effect on you in the future at some point. As well as all the other fast food junk and all the other processed junk that we might be eating. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Take care. Bye.